Hi, it's Dreyer and welcome to the Financial Freedom Challenge, where our mission is to help you to create, to grow, to protect and to enjoy a life of abundance. And today I'd like to talk to you about resistors, those things that keeps us from getting those things that we want to get. And for most people, one of the things that are not going to get and that they want is financial freedom. So what on earth is a resistor and where does it fit into the formula for riches? If we look at the formula for riches, as you know by now, there's three components to it. The first part is the intent. That's the symbol for intent, and we've explained and talked about that. And when we think in terms of intent, we think in terms of a power goal. And when we think in terms of a power goal, we know that we need to be crystal clear what it is that we want. And then also we need to program our subconscious mind so that the conscious mind, the mind and the subconscious mind is in synchronization. Because if the two clashes, there's no ways that we will have the drive and in order to get to where we want to be. In other words, that desire that we need in order to do whatever it's going to take, that's not going to be there. So the second part of the formula is the equal sign, okay? And that's the pivot point that I'm referring to, because that is our belief systems. And what I found is that the reason why we do not do most of the things that we're supposed to do is simply because we're in a state of confoculation. In other words, mentally we do not know that we don't know what we're supposed to know. And that is because the truth is hidden from us. It's not something that is obvious. We have to work, and it's going to take a lifetime basically to discover the truth about ourselves, the truth about our environment, the truth about finances, the truth about relationships, the truth about life, right? And this is a process, and this is where we're going to gain the experiences. And as the way that I see it, life is just an incredible place to live our experiences and to experience life. That is one of the gifts that we've got, the ability to have the emotions and to experience life to its fullest in the 7 areas of life. Now, what and why is it that we do not do the things that we're supposed to do? It's simply because we are energetic beings. Everything is energy. And the fact that we're alive is we operate in a certain energetic level. And the moment that that energy is disrupted, in other words, if there's a cut in this energy, we cannot and will never function to our fullest potential. And that is the universe's way to show us that there's something that we need to work on. In other words, to overcome, we call it problems, most people call it problems, but that problem is, unless we're going to solve that problem, unless we're going to sort out that problem in our lives, that problem is going to keep on coming back, and it's going to keep on coming back in different shapes. It's not always in the same shape. So you can find that financially you're battling, but the problem that you need to sort out, the resistor that you need to sort out, that break, has got nothing to do with finances. It's got to do with relationships, or it's got to do with your health, or it's got to do with spiritually. Okay, so because everything is intertwined in this energetic mess of mash of ideas and concepts, and because of that, we most of the time look in the wrong place for the answer. So the answer is never that obvious. So that's a belief system. I'll come back to the resistor just now. And then the last part of the formula, that is the focus part, and there's 5 areas that we need to focus on. Now here's the trick. You're not going to focus on that you need to focus on unless you can get the belief systems right. And you can't get the belief systems right unless we remove the resistors. So for that reason, part of the power morphing process is we spend like a full day to show people how easy it is, first of all, to identify a resistor. Because unless you can identify the resistor, there's no ways that you can address the resistor. In other words, remove the resistor. And you're going to find that because it's energy, it's not a long process. It happens sometimes almost like instantly, sometimes by just becoming aware that you do have a problem, solves the problem, and then acknowledge the problem and say, okay, but what is causing this problem? Why is it that I do not get an investment growth rate that is higher than my financial freedom growth rate? All right. And it may be that you're not willing to put in the time and the effort in order to learn. First of all, what is my financial freedom growth rate? I mean, and that in itself tells me that there's a resistor. But now we can go a little bit deeper into the resistor to figure out why. Because that resistor will always show as an emotion, and the emotion will vest as a feeling within your body, believe it or not. So the moment that you enter into the process, to be able to, when you know what you're looking for, in other words, if you're not in a state of confoculation, it's like this, to discover if there's a problem and then to uncover what that problem is, so that you can focus on the rest of the formula. That is a focus area in order to do those things that you need to do to synchronize with the strategy where at different levels you're going to do certain things in a certain way to get a certain outcome. But in order to do that, you need to get the right information in the right order for the level of the game that you're at, and then you have to do it. And the only reason why you will not do it is either because that pivot point, there's a resistor, or the intent is not strong enough. It's as simple as that. Let me give you a practical example. A couple of days ago, during this 91-day period that I'm in the morning with the heart rate challenge, and I've mentioned that to you, is I was in the mornings. I've got a couple of goals. I'm playing around. Each and every day I've got like a different intent or a different goal with the heart rate. But in essence, basically the 4 goals that I want to achieve, or 5 goals that I want to achieve. The first one is to get my heart rate up and keep it at over 120 beats per minute, and I want to do that for at least 30 minutes. Okay, so the minimum time is 30 minutes and the minimum heart rate average will be 120, because I know how to control that very, very easily. Then within that, there's this guy called René Descartes, and René Descartes, it's a 1600 in the year 1600 to 1652 he lived, and basically he was a philosopher, and he said that the only truth there is maths. So I've taken that really, really seriously, and my life basically works on a point system. If you've done the 91-day challenge course, you will know that I can relate basically everything back into points, and that's the reason why I love this little apparatus, this heart monitoring machine, because in this machine it gives us points. So if you achieve a certain level, it's going to give us 100 points, and it vibrates and say, you've done at least 100 points. But then there's a second level, which is 500 points, and that is where you start extending yourself, and where, according to them, and I don't know what criteria they're using, you are in a position where you are improving. In other words, you're not in a stagnate phase, you're in a improving phase. And we as wealth creators know, or I know at least, that in order to become the best that I can, I have to strain my potential until it cries for mercy. And to me, that means that I need to get my heart rate over 160 at least once. So that's the next one. So it's 30 minutes, it's 120 beats per minute minimum. It's at least once during the period to get my heart rate to over 160, and then the fourth one will be to get at least to 500 points. Right. And let me get back. A while ago, I sat with a problem, because on that specific day, and it was during this, it wasn't the first day or the first week, it was a month or 2 months down the line, and I could not get to the 500 points, and I could not get, during this phase, this 30-minute period, I could not get my heart rate over 160. I did achieve the 30 minutes, and I did achieve the 120, which are the baseline, right? But I could not get it. And immediately I sat down and I said, why did this happen? Because the universe has to show you in a way, if you tuned into yourself, it will always show you if there's a resistor. And the resistor had absolutely nothing to do with the exercises. And this is what I want you to get. It had absolutely nothing to do. So as soon as I addressed the resistor, the next day it was easy. And it's been easy since then till today. But today, a weird thing happened, because normally between 16 minutes to 20 minutes, I will go through the 500 points. But today at 30 minutes, I did not get the notification that I was on the 500 points. But I've done the 120 beats per minute, I've done the 30, I've done the 160, and I've done it 3 times this morning, and that was another one of the goals that but I did not achieve the 500 point mark. So what did I do? Immediately I reflect back and I said, okay, now speed up the process. In other words, I'm going to do whatever I need to do in order to get that goal as well. And that is how we grow. That is how, the moment that something that does not work according to what we think and how we think is going to work, we need to find out what is causing the resistor. And sometimes the resistor is just there. It's the universe's way to see if the desirability is really a 10 out of 10 and if the difficulty ratio is a 10 out of 10. And if you can achieve that you've set yourself. Right. And in finances, it's the easiest way is simply to look at your financial freedom growth rate and say, okay, but am I on my way in terms of my investment growth rate? Because if your investment growth rate is not higher than your financial freedom growth rate, you know that you will never become financially free. But we do not want to work for one day. We want to work for now. And this is something that I discovered in 1987. So while you're working towards that and your investment growth rate is higher than your financial freedom growth rate, you are successful. You don't have to worry because you know that by continue doing this, you will be financially free at the time frame that you set yourself. And success, we know by now, according to Nightingale, he says that it's a progressive realization of a worthy goal. So each and every day that I take a step that's going to help me financially, that's going to help me spiritually, that's going to help me with my social life, my financial life, my family life, my health, my mentally, every step that I'm going to take that I'm successful in is going to help me to get to where I want to be. Because you'll find that the majority of time, the resistor is going to show up in finances, but the problem is somewhere else. And that is why I've got the resistor identification and removal process. And if you think that can help you, really make a comment and I haven't done this for many years, where I've got a course, a physical course that I presented. But if I do get enough people that react on this by saying, please present the course, I may look into it and maybe help some of you. So what's the challenge for today? In order to be able to identify a resistor is actually very simple. What excuses do you have? I want you to sit down and write down every single excuse you've got for not being happy. That's it. If you're not happy about something in your life, write it down. If you're not financially free, why is it that you're not financially free? Write it down. If you do not love, or if you are not loved by other people, or you feel there's something wrong with your relationship with your spouse or with your friends or with your children or with your siblings, write it down. Because those are excuses, is the starting point for us to identify resistors. Right? And that's the challenge. All you have to do is to write that down. And then if you really want to, list them in a priority list. In other words, prioritize them. Those that are really serious and that you need to work on, get them higher on the list. So how can we start taking action, perhaps without doing a course on how this thing works? Well, you've already identified. The second thing that I want you to do is to identify what is it costing you. Let's take finances as an example. If you're not going to become financially free, what is it costing you in terms of money? What is it going to cost you in terms of your relationship? What is it going to cost you socially, with your standing socially? Do you one day to be dependent on the government that's going to give you a government grant that is going to be in the vicinity of 1,500, 1,600 Rand per month? What is it going to do mentally to you? What is it going to do? What's the cost in terms of the physical side? And I see a lot of people, they really suffer physically at retirement in terms of their health situation. And you can directly relate that back to they haven't got good medical care, as an example. Not always, but a lot of the times. So what is it going to cost you? And take each and every one of these and start writing down what will that cost you. So in closing, always remember that in order to create financial freedom, you must make sure that today is going to be a perfect day. And in order to make sure that today is going to be a perfect day, it means that on a day-to-day basis, you need to take full responsibility for what's going to happen. You need to have the intent. You need to put in the time and the effort. You need to have the right mindsets, and you need to take massive, massive action. There's absolutely no other way in order to be able to do this. And if you're not getting the results that you want, identify your resistors, because that is the only reason why you do not do that you're supposed to do, or that you're in a state of conforculation. So consistently doing what needs to be done is the only way to get the results that you want. That simply means that each and every thing that you're going to do today, every thought that you'll have, every action that you're going to take, is either going to take you one step to or one step away, moving you towards or moving you away from achieving your goal. Therefore, if you want to be financially free, I challenge you to identify your resistors and list them and prioritize them and start taking action in order to remove them. Because as soon as you remove them, then the power morphing process, the programming process, is just a lot easier. And the great thing about the power morphing process is that we start with the resistor removal process and identification process. So when we get to the process, the reason why you will not complete the process is because there's a resistor, and then you know how to identify the resistor, how to remove the resistor in order to get the programming right, so that you can subconsciously do those things that you consciously and intentionally want in your life. And this is an amazing process, because then you will focus on doing those things, in other words, complete the circle in terms of the formula for riches, where you're going to accelerate that, go back into the strategy, the different levels, doing the right things in the right order for the level of the game that you're at, turn that into a science. And the science is basically, when you do certain things in a certain way, you're always going to get a certain outcome. And that is why I can predict with 100% certainty that I can take 2 cents, and I can take the 2 cents, and by the end of the year there will be 200,000 Rand because of this, in terms of assets or in terms of cash, which basically is an asset, a bad asset, but at least an asset in my bank account. So as always, if you've got any questions or comments or suggestions about financial freedom or about resistors, then please leave them in the comment box, and I will help if I can, or show you where to go to in order to try to help you. Also remember to subscribe to my blog, that is blog.hannesdreyer.com, for more information and more tips and strategies on financial freedom, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel and perhaps Facebook. So yes, a feedback regarding my challenge, my heart rate challenge, and then simply check for the last 3 minutes. You'll see the intensity went up considerably in order to get to the 500 points. And then if you think that this video can help others, please share that with your friends and family. And then lastly, you know, I really enjoy making these little videos, because I believe that through my experience I can help other people. And this is exactly what happened in 2002 when Tanya said to me, "Hannes, you've achieved everything that you wanted to achieve. We're financially free, but you're not happy." And the reason why I wasn't happy was because I started getting depressed. And the reason why I got depressed is because I withdraw. I did not share. I did not help other people. And I believe that was the universe's way to show me that there's another level of freedom, and that is the freedom of purpose. And this is why I'm doing this, and this is my way of contributing, because I had to figure this out. There were no mentors and guidance for me and systems for me. I had to figure this out and start looking for these people. And nowadays it's not too difficult to get topics and to get to courses that can help you. And if I can suggest something, do as many courses as you can with as many different people as you can, because each and every course, if that mentor can show the results, there's something that he or she can bring to the party. And if I can help, please make sure that you contact my office, or that you subscribe to my different courses, and get to my blog, blog.hannesdreyer.com, and look for products, and you'll see. But before you do that, a tip, first phone my office to see if we can't offer you a better price. That is a price for normal people, but they haven't gone through all the training that you've gone through. That is, of course, if you're with me now on day 64. Right, and for that, I want to thank you, and then I'll see you tomorrow.